Hey there YouTube, it's your boy Lipet Oucho with another tornado reaction video when storm chasers are hit by tornadoes by high risk Chris. Let's get right into it, shall we? Hit it. Wow, that is fucking terrifying. That is terrifying.
The day is May 31st, 2013, and storm chasers from all over the country are moving towards one spot, Reno, Oklahoma. The extreme storm chaser convergence is due to the moderate risk with a 15% chance of tornadoes over central Oklahoma during late May, peak tornado season. However, the chaser convergence is made even worse because only 11 days prior, an EF5 tornado tore right through the suburb of Moore, Oklahoma. With the EF5 still fresh on everyone's mind, no one knows there's about to be another disaster, but this time, it would directly impact the storm chasing community. At 4:37 in the afternoon, a line of storms initiate west of Reno. With the anticipation for what is about to happen, Mike Bettis reports live for the Weather Channel.
Very quickly, these storms fired up, and that's going to happen with all of these. We can follow in behind it on the safe side of it, stay out of the rain, stay out of the hail, and have a view of a tornado and keep everyone alerted as to what the danger is.
Unknowingly, Mike foreshadows what's about to happen. As the complex of storms matures, the southern storm begins to dominate and a massive hook forms on radar. At 6:03, a tornado touches down southwest of Reno, Oklahoma. Immediately after touching down, the tornado...
This is still crazy to me. The thing with tornadoes, which isn't something that I'm really used to, is because I've seen hurricanes. And the thing about hurricanes are they form over warm water. There's a sustained amount of energy that it's able to gain from that heat. And then as it gets closer and closer to land, typically it weakens, and when it's over land, it just dissipates. The fact that tornadoes form over land is already crazy to me, but something this massive bro, these vortices look insane. I imagine storm chasers have this, I mean, if I'm not wrong, NOAA, the American agency, has planes that fly into hurricanes to study them, right? But getting into cars and then driving close to massive cells like these just to chase down these, I'm like, I get the scientific endeavor, but I could never convince myself to do this. Bro, the amount of adrenaline that must be surging through your system is crazy here.
Tornado exhibits a strange behavior.
Ooh.
Instead of a single circulation,
Yeah.
a tornado consists of many smaller, short-lived vortices that are extremely unpredictable.
Oh, that is so fucking sick. That is sick. Because it's not one can dissipate, another one can come down, another one. Bro, bro, the amount of just how terrifying this must be. Because all these cells coming down, you got to get in your car and make as good distance away. Because you don't know if a cell is going to come down on top of you. That's insane.
One of the chasers nearby is Oklahoma local Richard Henderson, who's out on his first storm chase. He captures the small vortices of the tornado as it touches down, although he doesn't have much time since the tornado is heading right towards him. Richard flees to the east, narrowly escaping the tornado. A mile away are storm chasers Brett Wright and Brandon Sullivan. Unlike Richard, these two have years of storm chasing experience. After recording the start of the tornado, they realize they're directly in the tornado's path, so they begin their escape south, away from the tornado.
Smart.
They leave early enough to evade the extremely strong core. However, the tornado is much larger than it appears. To the south of the core are powerful, invisible winds surrounding the tornado, blowing debris onto the road.
Ooh.
Brett struggles in the debris-filled crosswinds before a hay bale is blown into them.
Okay.
Fortunately, Brett and Brandon survive the encounter. However, the tornado is marching towards dozens of other chasers, and it's only getting stronger. To the north of the tornado, a line of chasers frantically drive east alongside the circulation. In the rear of the pack is Team Dominator, led by the legendary storm chaser Reed Timmer. His passenger records the monster tornado to their southeast. From their position, you can clearly see the outline of the massive tornado.
Like, you gotta understand, bro, this is Mother Nature's fury. Like, it's one of those things where I don't like underestimate, and obviously kudos to the guys for the courage and bravery to do this. And especially, I think I've seen storm chasers who actually place down like these flat, like pyramid shaped devices that they use to kind of like pick up more information to help better simulate tornadoes. That gives them like better meteorological readings for the next tornado, so you can predict where they're going to go better. But at the same time, I don't envy them, bro. I don't envy them because, brother, having a regular thunderstorm outside is terrifying enough. Seeing this, I know people can say like, oh no, but it's only a tornado on screen. It's not really anything like that. Bro, if you're standing anywhere close where these guys are standing next to this tornado, people will be shitting themselves. I don't want to hear it. That is crazy.
Being wrapped in rain. Also, the tornado
looks like a hellscape, brother. This is insane. The lightning, the thunder, bro. I can only imagine how harsh this would look. Bro, at night, this should be like fucking nightmare fuel. Could you imagine a night when you can't see anything and it's just darkness, but you can hear the howling of the tornado next to you? At least in daylight, you can see it.
Immensely grown in size, and so have the subvortices at the core. No chaser, not even a tornado tank like the Dominator, is able to survive a hit from one of these powerful subvortices.
Jeez. I'm very curious what the sustained wind speeds are. I'm very curious. Lightning as well.
In front of Team Dominator are the taillights of another notable storm chasing team, Twistex. Inside the Twistex vehicle are 3 chasers, father and son, Tim and Paul Samaras, and longtime team member, Carl Young. Twistex is positioned extremely close to the tornado, since they are chasing with the goal of deploying a probe inside of the tornado.
That's to be fair, like that's a very noble thing to do as well, because you get to actually understand the tornado, and it's not only about the adrenaline of like getting really close to them, it's also about understanding how tornadoes work, which is cool.
The line of storm chasers continue east until Team Dominator is stopped by power lines blocking the road. Right around the same time, Team Twistex realizes they're in danger, so they turn north away from the tornado.
Smart.
Henderson continues east, tracking alongside the tornado, likely unaware of how much danger he was in. At the same time, Mike Bettis is live reporting back to the Weather Channel.
Guys, that's it. Right there. Look at that monster. This is a
I shouldn't be laughing. I apologize. I shouldn't be laughing. My man's standing there like, there. He just points in the general direction of hell on earth. It's just, that's crazy.
Guys, that's it. Right
Brother,
there. Look at that monster. This is a huge tornado.
The entire screen is gray, fam.
He realizes they don't have a lot of time.
Right, and that's the thing, because it's like, oh, this might be a vortex. But the thing is, with tornadoes and with hurricanes, if you don't see them moving left or right, and they seem to be like they're standing still, it's heading right for you. You better get in the car and run.
The tornado is getting closer by the second.
Yeah.
This thing is moving relatively slowly. It could be putting
That does not look slow.
ourselves in a dangerous position here. We may actually quickly try to get in our cars and get south of this. I think we have to go now in order to stay ahead of this and not get run over by it.
Mike then makes the call to escape the tornado by going south on Highway 81. This is a huge mistake. As the Weather Channel crew frantically drives south, the tornado grows in size while also accelerating. The combination of growth and increased forward speed means that the tornado is effectively moving towards them at over 80 miles per hour. They have no chance of escape. Within minutes, the Weather Channel vehicle is at the core of the circulation.
Hold on, brothers. Hold on. Everybody duck, go, go, go. Just keep going if you can. Keep going if you can. Everybody duck down. Everybody duck down.
Their car is rolled 100 yards into the adjacent field. Somehow, everyone survives.
Okay, so everyone's alive. Hold on a second, bro.
In minutes, the Weather
Bro, thank God the cameraman had the camera out.
Channel vehicle is at the core of the circulation.
Look at this thing. Brother, that is insane.
Hold on.
Holy shit. You know the raw fear and adrenaline that has to be going through you when you're in a car driving in front of this thing. Yeah, putting up the windows was a good call, I'll be honest. I'll be honest, for whatever, however bad this looks, at the very least, the card wasn't picked up and thrown. At the very least, that's good. Jeez. They're alive as well, which is good.
Their car is rolled 100 yards into the adjacent field.
Whew.
Somehow, everyone survives.
The Weather Channel, man.
But as the tornado barrels onwards, others would not be as fortunate.
Oh no.
Immediately after striking the Weather Channel crew, the tornado turns north towards Richard Henderson, who's still driving east.
Bro, that is fucking terrifying.
Richard is caught in the violent core. His vehicle is thrown into the nearby field and is crumpled. Tragically, Richard does not survive.
That's the thing, right? Because one of the worries I have is like, you gotta understand these wind speeds are one thing, but just the sheer power that these tornadoes can have, they can fling you across. You have a better chance. I don't know if there's a study on this. There's a better chance for you like laying flat on the ground on a lower level on the ground and just laying as flat as you can with the hope that nothing strikes you and the tornado doesn't fling you around. But I can imagine it's still. Actually, what would you do? Would it be better to get out of the car and lay flat on the ground, or would it be better to just stay in the car?
As the tornado's impacting Richard, it reaches a peak width of 2.6 miles wide, making it the widest tornado in recorded history.
Yeah, I bet. And it's not only one vortex that's coming down, it's a set of vortices.
Meanwhile, to the north, Team Twistex and another chaser, Dan.
I don't know about truly the extent of climate change's impact on this, but as the planet gets warmer, my guess is, and what I've heard people say is, from experts, it's only going to get worse, and these storms are only going to get stronger.
Robinson are frantically driving east on Reuter Road. They are now driving through the outer bands of the circulation. As the core of the tornado approaches Twistex, the winds momentarily subside, and Tim becomes aware of the dire situation. Moments later, their vehicle is directly impacted.
Holy shit. Whew.
Their vehicle is tossed a third of a mile to the east. Tim, Paul, and Carl do not survive.
Yeah, there's no way of making that. That's just raw power of nature. Rest in peace, man, but that's the raw power of nature, man.
A mile to the east, Dan Robinson abandons his car on the side of the road and takes cover in a ditch. Robinson narrowly escapes the violent core of the tornado that killed Twistex. Bruised and scraped, Dan gets back in his vehicle and flees south away from the monster storm.
That's mad. That's mad, isn't it? 2.6 miles worth of... Jeez.
Tornado terror would come to an end. In 40 minutes, this record-breaking tornado took 8 lives, 4 of which were storm chasers, with every death happening in a vehicle. This was the first
every death happening in a vehicle. Damn.
Time storm chasers had been killed by a tornado, and Team Twistex were some of the most experienced and well-respected chasers in the community. Storm chasers dying to tornadoes was always a possibility, but no one thought it would be them. Despite their decades worth of combined experience, they were not ready for the extremely erratic behavior, power, and size of the 2013 El Reno tornado.
I mean, you have to understand, like, I don't know much about tornadoes because it's one of those few things that you've heard about, but you don't really see the actual effects of it. So you live in a place where you're not affected by tornadoes. But the thing is, the El Reno one was so devastating, it's infamous. Like, I don't know much about tornadoes, but I've heard about El Reno.
This traumatic event served as a lesson for the storm chasing community for years to come. But in 2019, another large group of storm chasers would take a direct hit from a strong tornado. Off your purchase today. It's May 28th, 2019, and a moderate risk with a 15% chance for tornadoes is taking shape over Kansas, storm chasers' favorite state. Of the many chasers out that day, one group is the well-known storm chasing tour, Silver Lining Tours,
That's crazy.
led by veteran chaser Roger Hill. With over 35 years of experience and more than 2 decades running the tour, few, if any, can match Roger's experience around tornadoes. By 4 in the afternoon, a cluster of storms forms south of Topeka. The complex of storms evolves, and the southern storm develops into a fully mature supercell. Roger, being as experienced as he is, has seen this pattern unfold countless times and positions the tour group in the perfect spot. Soon after, the storm produces a tornado east of Carbondale, Kansas. But there's one problem. This is a high precipitation supercell. A type of supercell that is so loaded with rain and hail, any tornado it produces is essentially invisible, unless a storm chaser is willing to get close.
There's no way that cell comes down on them, right?
It's essentially a type of supercell that is so loaded with rain and hail, any tornado it produces is essentially invisible.
That is not a line I don't think anyone wants to hear. An invisible tornado is bone chilling.
Unless a storm chaser is willing to get close.
Uh-oh.
Silver Lining Tours is well aware of the ongoing tornado, but given their position, they can't see anything. Instead of distancing themselves by continuing east, they make the aggressive decision to go north and position in the storm's notch, the only way to see a tornado on a high precipitation supercell. This is an extremely risky maneuver. However, they are not alone, as many other storm chasers do the same exact thing. One of these chasers is Quincy Vigal, who captures the tour vans passing by. Eerily, the tornado is somewhere in this rain.
Holy shit, I was paying attention to it's somewhere there?
As the tour drives north,
Bro, that has got to be fucking terrifying. You might be focusing on the cell there. That's literal death.
was somewhere in this rain.
Jeez.
As the tour drives north, they see something concerning. Another,
getting
larger
goosebumps thinking about this, but damn.
circulation is forming in front of them. Not wanting to risk driving into what is likely another tornado, they turn into a cemetery parking lot to stop and reassess.
Go, get out.
They decide to turn back south, away from the new circulation. The 4 tour vans awkwardly turn around in the parking lot, which burns a significant amount of time. Time that they did not have. Quincy captures Silver Lining Tours as they head back south. This is the last time they are seen. The convoy of vans continue south through the heavy rain and are hit by a wave of intense winds. And then suddenly, Roger sees something out his window.
Debris falling from the sky. Debris falling. Right here. Tornado right here. Get in a tornado. Stop. Stop.
Oh!
One van is rolled, while another van is lifted into the air, tumbling multiple times across the road into a field. Despite the horrific damage to the vans and large number of chasers impacted, nobody dies.
Yeah, that's a good thing. At least the vans are heavy enough not to be lifted by the wind. But could you hear the panic in his voice when he realizes, where's the tornado? Oh my, it's just,
something out his window.
Debris falling from the sky. Debris falling. Right here. Tornado right here. Get in a tornado. Stop. Stop.
Bro, that has got to be gut-wrenching.
One van is rolled, while another van is lifted into the air, tumbling multiple times across the road into a field. Despite the horrific damage to the vans and large number of chasers impacted, nobody dies. However, one tour guest suffers major injuries. After 2019, the storm chasing community was on their best behavior. But in 2023, an early season setup in the southeast would start the year off on a low note. On March 24th, a moderate risk with a 15% chance for tornadoes is materializing over the southern portion of the Mississippi River. Many chasers are out because of how potent the system is forecast to be. But by 5 p.m., storm still hadn't produced any tornadoes. Many chasers write this day off as a bust. Then, right at sunset, a strong current of air in the lower levels of the atmosphere, known as the low-level jet, ramps up over the area, dramatically increasing the tornadic producing ability of storms. And there just so happens to be a single dominant supercell in the area. Storm chasers see what's unfolding, and they all converge on this supercell, which begins to rapidly rotate as it crosses the Mississippi River. One chaser who goes by the name Chris FL Tornado is streaming on YouTube, documenting his chase, and he's now moving into Rolling Fork, Mississippi. And at 7:57, a tornado touches down southwest of Rolling Fork, the town Chris is in. Right behind Chris on Highway 64 is storm chaser Max Olson, who captures the early stage of the tornado as it's directly to his west.
No, bro, no, bro. That is nightmare fuel. That is pure nightmare fuel. The only time you see the tornado is when there's lightning. Bro, I have goosebumps. No. But that is night. Nah.
To his west.
Holy shit.
Multiple storm chasers in the area report the tornado, and a tornado emergency is issued, with Rolling Fork right at its center. While Max is recording the tornado, Chris is in town, live streaming to an audience. He passes multiple businesses and homes on the east side of town. Little does he know, many of these buildings would be flattened minutes later.
Jeez.
Chris takes a left into the residential part of town. He looks at radar, and he's right in the path of the circulation.
Yeah.
Chris continues down the road and stops for nearly a minute at a stop sign, lingering for far too long. Chris then says he's listening for the tornado and that he needs to be careful because things are about to get ugly, and he could not be more right. Meanwhile, Max is southwest of town, recording the tornado with an unobstructed view. By now, the tornado has grown into a massive beast, and it is rapidly closing in on town, where Chris continues to meander. Even though it's at night, frequent lightning strikes and power flashes light up the monster lurking in the darkness. However, Chris's view is obstructed by the homes and trees in town. Chris turns east, unknowingly entering the tornado's path. He mentions that he wants to get out of town, but little does he know the tornado was already doing damage less than a mile away. As Chris struggles to find a path back to the main road, he stopped at a dead-end street, losing him even more time. He makes a couple more turns, and then a loud roar begins to drown out all other sounds. Chris nervously closes his windows to quiet the roar for his stream, and he seems to be aware of what is happening. Another chaser, Marcus Reynolds, is a couple blocks to the north and captures the tornado as it's illuminated by a power flash. By now, Marcus and Chris are both aware of the danger they're in, but time has run out. The wind picks up and debris flies across the road on Chris's stream before it cuts out. Moments later, tornado overtakes both chasers.
Wait, both the chasers could see the hurricane tornado. I'm sorry. Why did they just not get out of the way? Just drive anywhere. Don't stand still.
Both chasers survive.
Thank
However,
God.
had they been just a single block to the south, they likely would have died, since this area...
But you gotta understand the amount of force that tornado is blowing it to wreck cars like these, bro.
Had they been just a single block to the south, they likely would have died, since this area was found to have evidence of winds of at least 195 miles per hour, which are essentially unsurvivable for anyone.
Well, to be fair, it's not that the winds themselves are unsurvivable. If you can still stay on the ground, it's the debris that they're shooting right at you.
Anyone in a vehicle. The Rolling Fork tornado was only the first big tornadic event of 2023, and already 2 chasers were hit by a strong tornado. And less than 2 weeks later, another tornado would impact multiple chasers.
Holy shit!
And I was one of them.
Brother, what did you just say? Huh?
Impact multiple chasers.
Holy shit!
And I was one of them.
Never have I thought I'd watch a YouTube video from a storm chaser who was struck by a tornado and actually has the receipts for it. That's crazy.
The story actually starts a few days earlier when an extremely potent system was coming through the Mississippi River Valley on March 31st. As a storm chaser, I wanted to get involved in the action, so I road tripped east to chase the northern portion of the risk, where a 30% chance of tornadoes was outlined over Iowa and Illinois. On the morning of the chase, I faced a difficult decision. Which side of the Mississippi River should I chase, Iowa or Illinois? I chose Illinois, which was a huge mistake. While I chased garbage storms in Illinois, 60 miles to my west, Tanner Charles captured this incredible tornado in Iowa.
Damn.
Absolutely incredible!
See, to be fair, this isn't as terrifying because you can see it. You know exactly where that solid formation is. It isn't terrifying because it is powerful, yes, but you generally know the direction it's going. You can stay ahead of it or at least get away from it. That's so fucking sick.
Missing this incredible tornado left me with an unhealthy hunger to redeem myself, and I would get that chance just a few days later. Another extremely similar setup was over almost exactly the same area. Not wanting to make the same mistake again, I started my day in Burlington, Iowa, leaving both sides of the river in play. But soon after, a large, powerful complex of storms was initiating and moving into Illinois. For a second time in a row, I was suckered into chasing the Illinois side of the river. I made my way south to get a view of the storms, and it was a massive supercell that's spitting out incredible bolts, a telltale sign the storm is intensifying.
Yeah, that is
Even
sick.
though there isn't a tornado, I make sure to stay northeast of the storm, just in case a tornado does form. And because it was moving at nearly 45 miles per hour, eventually I'm overtaken by the core of the storm, the area filled with rain and hail, limiting visibility to nearly zero. However, as I travel east, the storm begins to show signs of rotation on radar, and just after 7 p.m., a tornado touches down a few miles southwest of Lewistown, Illinois. Around the same time, I break out of the storm's core and get a clear view of the storm's updraft. Right in front of me is the most incredible supercell I have ever seen. I pull over at an intersection, keeping in mind that I would need to travel east to stay with the storm. Right behind me is Tanner Charles, who's leading a vehicle with 3 other storm chasers.
Yeah, okay, here we go. Is that it right there? Or wait, no, it's over here on the right. Yeah, it's right here on the right.
Everyone in the car is somewhat confused about whether or not this is an actual tornado or just a rotating supercell. However, moments later, the tornado reveals itself as a tight circulation underneath the storm's mesocyclone. And this is when I begin recording on my second camera, the only camera that would survive.
Whoa, look at
Isn't that ominous?
this thing.
Holy shit.
Oh my god. Holy shit, Tanner.
Tanner and crew pull up to the same intersection, positioning themselves to the east to allow for a quick escape. Also, you can see me in their video pulled over on the other side of the road.
Yeah.
What's up, bud?
As incredible as the tornado in Supercell is,
Yeah.
there's one problem. It's moving directly
Yeah.
at us.
It's coming right at us. Yeah, this is.
I'm aware.
As the tornado gets closer, a local yells.
Yeah, I think if the locals are telling you to get the hell out of there, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not an expert, but I would listen to him.
We're good. We got time.
And
Brother, what you don't have is time.
I resist their advice, thinking I had more time than I did. Tanner's group is more cautious,
Yeah.
and they escape to the east. I hesitate for another minute since I'm frozen with a mixture of fear and awe. And to make matters worse, I couldn't find my phone.
Where the fuck is my phone?
Eventually, I find my phone.
But I'll be honest, right? But I will be as honest as I can be. If you are facing down the barrel of a goddamn tornado, I don't care if you have your phone on you or not. If I don't care if I have my phone on me or not, I can buy another phone once we run and get away from the tornado. You feel me? I think that's just priorities.
Pull a U-turn, and then make the single most pivotal decision of the chase, or really my entire life. Instead of going north away from the tornado, I turn east to race out in front with the intention of keeping up with the tornado for as long as possible. As I frantically
You just know you get onto the road, like the pause is perfect. You see the lightning strike on the road you're on, and it's like the version of God in the background saying, "You sure you want to go down this road? You really sure?" That's insane.
As I frantically drive east along Epworth Springs Road, Tanner and his crew turn north onto Highway 100. They seem to have escaped in time. However, high voltage power lines fall, trapping their vehicle directly in the path of the tornado.
That's crazy.
Oh my gosh!
Damn! Holy shit! Oh, they survived.
Lord
Okay.
Jesus, please protect us in the name of Jesus. Oh, fuck.
Back west, I race to stay ahead of the tornado, frantically looking for a north option.
Yeah.
I try to stop and turn north on Ridge Road, but as I hit the brakes, I begin to hydroplane, missing the turn. The next option is Highway 100. As I'm stopped at the intersection, I grasp the danger of the situation I put myself in. The now massive tornado was half a mile to my southwest.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready to give up, so I turned around in desperation to hopefully get on the backside of the tornado.
Yeah.
Alright, we're going back. We're going back.
Brother,
Going back.
brother, that is
I
terrifying.
keep fighting. The grain silos next to me begin to shred apart, and a large piece of sheet metal jams into my wheel, stopping my car. In these brief, helpless moments, I decide to brace myself up against the steering wheel. My windows blow out, and pieces of debris whiz by my face at incredible speeds. My head is positioned right behind the vehicle's door pillar, shielding my head from the flying debris.
That's smart. So I imagine it's like you have your steering wheel over here, the window right, and then you have the plane that's like the metal part. So you're back up against there, praying that anything that's going to slam in just passes by you in the window. Jeez.
likely saving my life.
Yeah.
The grain bin is thrown into my vehicle and my car rolls. After rolling 3 times, the vehicle finally comes to a rest. The powerful core of the tornado then overtakes Tanner's group's vehicle.
You hear the roaring scream in that storm. Holy.
Tornado then overtakes Tanner's group's vehicle. Somehow, the same grain bin that hit my vehicle rolls nearly half a mile directly over their vehicle.
Like, I get it, how serious the situation is, but that is just petty of the grain bin. That's a petty grain bin right there.
Their vehicle.
Jeez.
The tornado finally passes. I climb out of my car, completely disoriented and surrounded by mud. It didn't feel like real life. I couldn't comprehend what happened.
I was hit. I made a serious mistake.
Yeah.
I am sorry. That's it.
For a second time in 2023, and less than 2 weeks after the Rolling Fork incident, 2 different chase vehicles were hit by the same tornado. Admittedly, my own decisions resulted in me getting hit, but instead of just saying all storm chasers to be hit by tornadoes are stupid, like what all the comments have been saying for years on both YouTube and Reddit, I want to break down why it happened while also talking directly with the people who lived through those moments.
That's like,
After having more than 2 years to reflect on what happened in Lewistown, the biggest factor in my situation was my mentality. When I missed the prolific Iowa storm a few days earlier, I put on myself an unhealthy pressure to perform, leading me to make more dangerous decisions than I would have normally. I knew what I was doing was dangerous, but given my desperation, I didn't want my shot of the tornado to end, causing me to continue east instead of stopping where I was. It's also worth mentioning that the Lewistown tornado was much larger than it appeared. According to the National Weather Service survey, it may have been more than 1 mile wide, and visually it was not that large, making it difficult to judge in the moment. The tornado was also extremely rain-wrapped, dusty, and was moving at over 50 miles per hour, which is a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
But these are not excuses for my decisions. I should have taken this all into account at the time and backed off. For Tanner's situation, it's mostly just bad luck. The fact is, they were in front of the tornado and would have safely continued the chase had they not been blocked by the power lines.
But to be fair, I do think there is an argument to be made that anytime you're planning, regardless, I get it, you can plan always ahead of time, but I think the smartest move would always be that you have a map of where you think the tornado is going to go down, and you map on the map basically any single road that has power lines on the side, and you just block off those roads as potential exits. So you have no possibility of this ever happening again. Because if you know that this is a possibility, you want to eliminate the possibility, especially when you have the unexpected happening around you. You feel me? True.
The Rolling Fork tornado had similarities to Lewistown. It was hard to see since it was at night,
Yeah.
while also moving at an extremely fast
This might be the most terrifying tornado I've seen in this video. Bro, just imagine it's just pitch black at night, and then you have like one lightning, and you hear the sound of thunder after you see the visual of the hurricane as it goes back into the darkness. That's when you hear the sound of thunder. Nah, bro, I am out of there. No.
forward speed. But
Nope.
the biggest issue was that Marcus and Chris were chasing in town, surrounded by
Jeez.
trees and buildings
Yeah.
blocking their view. Getting close to a tornado at night is just not worth it, especially when you're in an area with tons of potential debris. Max Olson also chased the tornado and got incredible shots without putting himself or others in danger.
So when Rolling Fork initially touched down, we were south of town by a couple miles, and I had stopped well south of Rolling Fork because I didn't want to get north of the tornado's path in any way. When it's that late at night, even though we had decent visibility, storms moving that fast, things can happen quickly. So I wanted to make sure we were pretty far south. It was a relatively close intercept, but once we gauged the motion on it, we could tell that it was going to pass to our north. We just weren't sure if it was going to go directly through Rolling Fork at that point, or if it would pass Rolling Fork, or maybe just clip it a little to the north. It was still pouring down rain and windy, and it was really difficult to see outside until there was one flash of lightning that really illuminated the foreground. And I realized that the reason I couldn't tell how bad the damage was around me is because all the houses that used to exist around me were now clumps of rubble.
That is a terrifying line. Could you imagine thinking like, hey, why do I not know the damn? Oh, those buildings don't exist anymore.
And that's when, I just got the biggest pit in my stomach. And
Yeah.
was like, oh man, these people need a lot of help and really fast.
The tornado that impacted Silver Lining Tours was also extremely hard to see because it was buried in rain, fast moving, and the chasers were in a dangerous position. The storm's notch. My main criticism is that the storm chasing tours should not be chasing aggressively. Because a convoy of vans moves slowly,
Yeah.
Max has been a tour guide for a few seasons now, and he can also verify that.
When I am guiding a tour, I'm chasing completely different than when I'm out on my own. When I'm on my own, I'll be somewhat aggressive, still smart and calculated, but aggressive when the situation presents itself. When I'm on a tour,
Your threshold for risk is going to be a lot lower because you have to not only consider your own safety, but it's the safety of everyone that's involved who want to go and see tornadoes. So you still want to show them the tornado, but you don't have to get nearly as close. There should be no possibility that it should be in the case that no matter where you position yourself, you don't want to put anyone's life at risk, not your own, right? So if you're on your own and you're doing your own thing, understandable, have a nice day. But you have people who are your responsibility with you, that should be unacceptable. Like, you got to be
I'm not even thinking about getting close.
right. You just care about, like, hey, here's the tornado, take the photos, looks pretty cool, we getting the hell out of here. That's it.
I'm just thinking about getting these guests out of the van in a safe spot where they can enjoy the storm, which usually means we have to stay further back.
Yes.
The one tornado that really stands out is the El Reno incident,
Oh,
where
yeah.
2 storm chasing vehicles and 4 different chasers died. This is still the only time storm chasers have been directly killed by a tornado, likely because it's the strongest, largest, fastest,
And most erratic. Yeah,
of the tornadoes.
thanks, nice.
I
It was,
covered in
bro.
this
I've
video.
I've never seen this before. Never seen this. That's crazy.
However, the storm chasers are
It's
not.
it's like a portal to another, like, dimension where it's like all these, like, different tendrils of, like, these mushroom, like, tornadoes just coming down to the ground. That's crazy.
Totally blameless. I truly don't understand the decision-making process of the Weather Channel vehicle, since they basically drove straight into the tornado. Even though Mike Bettis seemed to have good situational awareness at the time, they're extremely lucky nobody was killed in their vehicle. I recently visited the Twistec site, and the most eerie thing is just how close it is to other roads. All they had to do was turn north, and they likely would have survived.
Yeah.
And while El Reno remains the only tornado to ever kill storm chasers, given the increased number of storm chasers around tornadoes, it's no longer a question of if more storm chasers will be hit or even killed. It's a question of when.
Yeah.
During a storm chase last year, my friend Kelton lost sight of a large and dangerous tornado. Fortunately, he evaded the tornado to the east, but had there been chaser traffic slowing down his progress, he would have been killed.
I'm not gonna lie. You know how terrifying this is when you're seeing this in the rear view mirror, and then you have that text right below it, like, objects in the mirror appear closer, appear closer than they appear. It's like, you are putting pedal to the metal, hoping you don't hydroplane as you are getting the hell away from the storm. This is an insane video. I was, bro. I've high risk Chris. Subscribed 100%, bro. This is. But I'm not gonna lie, that image they have of the Reno one, the one that's here towards the end, I'm like, bro, this is
blameless. I truly don't understand the decision-making process of the Weather Channel vehicle, since they basically drove straight.
This is insane.
Into
You
the
can do image by image,
tornado.
but look at these ones, bro.
Even
That is insane. I've never seen anything like this. I didn't even think footage like this ever existed, but that is so cool. Like, I get it, like in a morbid fascination kind of way, but that is still insane. Yeah. Damn. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, that's all I have for the video. Hope you guys enjoy the reaction. Like, comment, subscribe, and catch you beautiful bastards in the next one. Peace. Take care. Nice. Still, it's insane. It's insane seeing tornadoes at night and having lightning illuminate them, bro. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's actually crazy.